This episode is brought to you by Honeybee Funds. Honeybee is a nonprofit organization set up to help out homeless people that fall through all the cracks of other help. Homelessness in America has skyrocketed since 2020, and it's senseless in the wealthiest country in America. Outside of natural disasters, Honeybee believes there is no reason for homelessness in America. Some people will fall through the cracks because they have no children, no elderly living in their household. Some homeless people are not recovering from drug addiction or recently released from jail, so they are not viewed as priorities for housing. Honeybee Funds is set up to help homeless find a home, even if they have large dog that they count as part of their family. Email charliepooch131@gmail.com if you wish to contribute to Honeybee Funds. Uh, Now we will turn back to our broadcast.
Yes, dude. Man, your show's gonna be awesome, bro. Your show's gonna be awesome.
My name is Little Dog. I go by Little Dog is my stage name. My name is Lafiama. My tribal name and my tribal last name that was handed down from my great great grandfathers and my family side on my mother's side is Little Dog, which is Emeteo Kawan. And I am a brand new actor as well too. I started off in background. I started off on Lawman Bass Reeves. There's a really good close up of my face on there. Also on the eighth episode for the selection, you can see my big face poking out behind somebody else. So uh, I was mostly into sales for most of my career. I never really seen myself as an actor. It wasn't until we met one of our friends at a powwow at IIA, which is in Cleburne, and she told us, hey, they need background for Bass Reeves. And Amy was actually very, very interested in doing it, but she didn't want to do it alone. And I was like, well, I'm focusing on this construction company. I don't really want to do it. I'm not really interested. And eventually I was like, okay, well, I'll go ahead and do it with you since you don't want to do it alone. And so I joined her on it, and whenever I did, it turns out I really liked it. It was really fun. It was cool being in different clothes from a different time period, as well as it was really awesome, getting to be part of the production and seeing how it was made. I've been on several different backgrounds of different movies since then. I've been on different commercials as background as well. I started doing some of the modeling as primaries this past year. I started getting speaking roles this past year as well, and it's just been wonderful. Everything that's helped me, I feel like everything in sales has helped me get to where I'm at now, to where I have the tough mentality to deal with rejection, because not everybody's going to want you on their project. Not everybody's going to select you, and they may actually select somebody who looks just like you. And you may be like, well, what's wrong with me? You just wasn't a good fit for it. There's something else that you're going to be a good fit for. And I believe that that created the mental strength to deal with the rejection, because I dealt with rejection single day on the doors. And that was my background. As I started off in magazine sales for a few years. I then went making into car sales, and then I went back onto doors for roofing, and I've been doing roofing for a very long time. I do like this because we do have a certain script that you have to follow in order, especially whenever you're starting out, to learn how to talk to homeowners, how to answer questions correctly, how to actually know what you're talking about. And I took the time to follow some of the best people that I knew and learn what they did, and saw that, hey, you got to use emotions whenever you're talking to people as well, because it's an emotional sale. And I use all of this in my acting. I've been doing sales for over 20 years, and using my facial expressions, using variations of my voice, raising the pitch up, lowering it, make it deeper, you know, feeling condolences for people, you know, It's been a long process, but I feel like it's trained me for all this acting because once I got into it, it was almost like I slipped right into it. And so I ended up starting with Legacy Casting, and it's mycastingfile.com. They do a lot of background around the United States. And it was a great way to start out, in my opinion, because I got to see how the set was run, see the different things that go on with it in order of making a production, from the PAs to the background to the main actors, seeing the process of it. And it helped me out in this career as well because it helped me understand the films. It helped give me another appreciation for it, another appreciation for the storytelling and the amount of work that goes into telling that story. And I've fallen in love with it since. I've have certain things coming up. I believe in December, the American Coyote will be dropping, and I do intend on having the director and lead from that come onto the show as well. It's going to tell us a little bit about that, and that was my first speaking role. And then well, right before Halloween on the 29th, The Legend of the Donkey Lady dropped and had a premiere over in San Antonio. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it there, but it looked like it turned out great. It looked like it turned out awesome. I played Jason on that one, and it's a character at a campfire. And the DVD should be coming out here soon, and I'm going to try to get some clips from it, share it to my Facebook, as well as, eventually we're going to talk about that one as well. Now, I do have several other projects coming up to where I do play somebody with a bigger role as well as supporting and a couple of lead characters coming up. And I'm super excited about it. I'm very happy with all the people who have supported me, everybody who knew that I can, be more than what I was, be better than how I was. And my goal is to keep improving for everyone. I started this podcast so that way we can shine some light on upcoming actors. Today's upcoming actors are tomorrow's stars. And you never know whenever somebody's going to break out and go from the B class movies to the A class movies, to the major stars, to the major films. And so I like to give those people a chance, give you guys an idea of what to watch out for. Tubi has a lot of films by upcoming stars, such as Kiki Suki, as well as so does Amazon Prime. And then Netflix is starting to show some new films as well, too. You'll see from probably one of our next interviews coming up as well. His name is Daniel Adam Moyer. And we're going to interview both of these gentlemen today and give you an idea of what to keep an eye out for. Hello, my name is Lafayama. Everybody calls me Little Dog. I'm been in the acting world for about a year now, a little over a year. And I've been doing other things. Most things you'll recognize me from is probably a lot of background work, such as Bass Reeves, 1923. I'm on season 2. I've been on several other projects as well, as did a little modeling for Apple, and it's been a great. It's been great. This podcast we created. This one is called Today's Entertainers with Little Dog, and we aim a spotlight on upcoming actors. And sorry, and I did promise a word of the day. Today's word is uki, which is Blackfeet for hello. Uh, and I've seen it spelled 2 different ways. One is OKI, and the other one is OKIE, depending on which part of the Blackfeet Confederacy you're on. And so our first guest today is Kiki Suki, who's been in several different projects, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him personally and being able to work with him. He's awesome, really awesome guy, and he's actually in excellent shape. I wish I was in that shape. One day I will be. But anyways, tell us a little bit about yourself, Kiki. Like, start with your name.
Oh, thank you for having me, Wado. Yeah, so my nationality is Japanese, Hawaiian, and Cherokee. My mom is from Sallisaw, Oklahoma, the Cherokee Reservation out there, and my dad's from Hawaii. So yeah, I've been acting for about 15 years, and in the 15 years I've been acting, I've done over 50 films. most recently did my first lead role in a film called
nice.
Don't Break the Rules. Which is
Nice,
on
definitely a must watch.
Amazon Prime right now.
So,
Halloween film.
so tell us a little bit about the background of your name as well, Kikisuki.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I used to go by the name Cherokee, and as I kind of learned more about my history, my background, my mom grew up in a generation where it wasn't okay to say you're Native American, so I didn't really get a chance and the opportunity to learn about my Cherokee background growing up as a kid because it was kind of a hush-hush situation. So I really literally grew up with a lot of my Hawaiian side of my background growing up. So when I learned more about my Cherokee ethnicity, about my tribe, about my people, I literally was like, okay, yeah, I can no longer call myself Cherokee because it's just kind of disrespectful to my other people. And I didn't want to have to be Atlas and trying to carry the whole tribe on my back, so I shortened it to Kiki. Most people knew me as Ki anyway, so I just kind of added the extra Ki in there. And then my last name is Takatsuki, which is Japanese, Hawaiian, and I shortened that because it's so hard.
I totally get it. Lafayama is hard for a lot of people to remember and say. It's my over my tribal last name and my last name, and name that was handed down from my grandfather's was Little Dog. And so everybody recognizes me as that on set. All the directors, everyone, they're like, "Hey, where's Little Dog at?" I had one guy say, "Where's Little Boy?" And I was like, "Is there a little boy here?" But anyway, okay.
Yeah, my great great grandmother is a walking stick. So she's on the Cherokee rolls and the Dawes rolls, and I just it's kind of weird because like us people that are kind of in the middle of everything, that are not like a pure blood and everything, it's a little different for us because I feel like we walk around at war with ourselves at all times, like, what am I? Who am I more proud of? And it's just never really
Yeah,
a
and I
moment
get it.
of
And Blood
peace
Quantum was
in the
made to run
brain
out
because
anyway,
you're
so it's
constantly
kind of a
pouring
scam. But
yourself.
that's for a different podcast. uh, Now, to my understanding, you also do stunts as well, right?
Yeah, I've worked with Troy Miller and the Washington's Armor family doing stunts, Angel Mist Productions, Jomo Delarte doing stunts for Grandmaster. We worked with Peter Pham and Domino. That's an international film that just recently released. I was on the stunt teams for Rising Star Stunts out of Arizona. I worked with them. And myself, I'm a stunt choreographer. I worked on several films here in San Antonio. I did 90% of the stunts in Dog's Life, the movie that we just released last year. That's on Tubi. For Not So Sane Entertainment, I've worked with them on 4 films doing stunts and choreography.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And then I know that you were talking about you're starting to write your own stuff as well too.
Oh yeah. So I'm not just an actor. I'm also a director, stunt choreographer. I'm a writer. I have a book out. It's called Out of the Abyss. It's on Amazon Prime. And then I also am finishing right now. We're getting very close to doing a red carpet for a film called Mr. Marbles. It's a rendition of a slave doll that comes back to life and kills the family of the previous slave owners. So it's a great redemption songs movie, but it's also I took an original doll that I just actually kind of found and created an actual character for this, like a Chucky doll, like a Annabelle doll. So Mr. Marbles is his own person at this point with the storyline. So I'm super excited to release this film to the world so they can see it.
Nice. That's going to be pretty awesome. We have a little bit of clips for me too. What kind of clips did we get from you?
I think I sent you a teaser. I think you have a teaser trailer for
Okay.
Mr. Marbles, and this teaser that I sent you has not been released to the public. We do have a full trailer out right now, but the teaser that I gave you has not been released to the public, so it's the first time, unless I sent you the other one. I can't remember.
All right. During the full one, we'll have it have it queued up. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go ahead and introduce it a little bit. But I'm very excited, and I'm very excited to check it out. It does look like it's a very interesting film.
Yeah, we're shooting for
It's
December, first week of December for the first red carpet here in San Antonio at City Based Theaters, and then we're going to do a second release of it for Black History Month in February.
oh, nice. Okay. When are y'all looking to go into distribution for it?
So I'm literally going to try to sell the film. My goal is to actually sell the film, because if I could sell the film, that'll give me the funds to start Doll Maker, which is a spin-off of Mr. Marvels, and then
Okay.
that'll give me the funds to go into Mr. Marvels 2. It's a trilogy. It'll be a 3-film trilogy: Mr. Marvels, Doll Maker, and Mr. Marvels 2. So that's my goal in the next 3 years, to write, film, produce these films, and get them out to the market.
Nice. Okay. And now, one of the other questions I always get is, how do you get into acting? How did you start?
Good question. um, when I was a kid in high school in Hawaii, I had the great privilege and honor to have Kerry Togogawa. He was Shang Tsung in the original Mortal Kombat, and I was taking Japanese in my school, and he was a guest speaker. So he came to our school and spoke to us, and it was such an inspiration to be a young kid, being part native, but yet being part Japanese. You seeing this 6 foot tall Japanese man come into your class, and you know him from all these great movies. Because it's funny, because I was such a Latino movie buff as a kid. I saw Mi Vida Loca, Blood In, Blood Out, American Me. I was straight Chicano as a kid growing up, but I also used to do hip hop and rap. So when I was a rapper as a young buck, I literally was kind of immersed into that culture of being a little gangster.
I think we all go through that phase.
Yeah.
I know that I was into a bunch of cholo rap when I was younger as well too, and I used to watch American Me, Blood In, Blood Out.
What's funny about that is, because now that, so me and Kerry became friends on Kauai when I was a kid, and I ended up switching high schools. He came to my other high school, did another guest speaker for me. And when I moved to San Antonio, the first film that I worked on here in San Antonio was a film called Lowrider Weekend. And Jesse Borrego and Danny De La Paz was on that film, and I ended up doing security work for Danny, but he gave me a kind of like a little cameo in it. So
Sure.
this was like old school San Antonio, like 1998. And I was like straight up in the lowrider community. Kid Frost came down from LA. So it was like so crazy. And now that I've been acting here in San Antonio, I've probably met about 8 people from the cast from American Me, which is kind of crazy to see, everything come full circle when you're an adult.
Yeah, I got to meet Vic recently, Vic Trevino. Did you get to meet him? I know that he's down there in San Antonio
Me
right
and him are
now.
good friends. He's a great guy. Extremely talented actor.
Oh yeah.
I always say that Hollywood has a tendency to be very selective. It's only one native, it's only one Asian, it's only one Latino, especially old Hollywood, that would actually make waves for a certain amount of time. And he was one of those actors that did work, but I feel like Hollywood overlooked his talent. He was so talented that he never got that A spotlight, to get to that A squad of acting. That's the hardest thing as an actor, is to break out of the D to the B to the C to the B to the A, side of film.
Yeah.
And for me, honestly, like, if it happens, it happens. But I've gotten to a point in my life where I just love the craft so much that chasing fame isn't something that I really want to do.
Yeah, you're a storyteller, which is very understandable. That's very something that was very common for our people. We got to telling stories, and that's storytellers were important. So that's why even at powwows, or even like when they used to hold the Four Corners, they had the storytellers come down. They were very popular, and so they were held in very high regards as well. because they, a lot of them maintain the oral history of our people
I mean,
and our
for sure, you're
traditions.
like
So,
me. We grew up on, Indian in a Cupboard with Lightfoot and, these role models that we grew up as kids, like these actors back in the day that put in work, like now they have, Superman and he's killing it. Like, so like,
oh yeah. What's funny is I actually talked to Superman not so long ago, and he's one of the guys that I remember way back in the day when I think I was a freshman in high school. He used to be part of this rap group called Resurrection, and that's whenever I actually got the pleasure of meeting him. So hopefully one day I can have him on the show as well too. It's pretty cool. He's a really really cool guy. It's cool to see where he started from and to where he is now, and so it's really awesome, especially going back to different indigenous artists like the rapper Red Cloud. I remember whenever
I
he was
actually know
so
Red
far
Cloud a good
underground.
dude. Yeah.
I
I
never
was
got to
supposed
meet
to do a
him.
track with him back in the day, but it didn't happen. I was doing a lot of networking with the tribes at the time. So when I grew up as a kid, we had a rap group on Kauai, and my DJ was Buffy St. Marie's son, Dakota Wolfchild, and
Okay.
my co hip hop artist was Amin Mahal, which his father is Taj Mahal, the jazz blues singer. So I grew
Oh,
up around celebrities my whole life as a kid, and when you're a kid, you don't realize your friends' family is celebrities. You always hear the hype about it, but when you're a kid, you don't see that. You're just like Uncle Tashi, Auntie Buffy. So when I moved home to Kauai, in 2016, I was living with Cody and his mom again for like 3 years, and then I moved back to San Antonio. But I tell you what, like such amazing souls. Like, and Buffy was one of the people that really helped me kind of like learn more about my native heritage and to kind of learn to work off the land and work with the family and stuff like that because I never really had that growing up with my mom and my stepdad. My stepdad was Caucasian, so it was a traditional Caucasian household.
yeah. Now, since you've been older, have you been able to make it back to your tribe? Kind of see some powwows and some events
Not,
going on.
not actually to the Cherokee tribe, but I've been with I have a friend named Fox Red Sky, and she did powwow about 3 years ago, and I got a chance to do a sweat lodge with them and do the whole peyote ceremony and learn more about the culture because I didn't get the honor to grow up like that. I literally was a warrior not knowing who I was, like you grow up and you're like, man, like why do I have all this pride, but I don't know how to distribute it, and I don't know how um to bond with other natives because it's just you just don't grow up around it. And I
Yeah.
found myself as growing up in Hawaii, I learned about the Hawaiian culture, the mana, and taking care of the aina, and when you grow up around another type of love for the land, it's very similar but very different.
Yeah, very much. There's two different reactions I usually see between people who grew up and didn't know that they were indigenous because there was a lot of crooked stuff back in the day, and so one of the things was is that they were adopted out to non-indigenous families, Latino families. So they raised up and thought that they were just, only Latino, which Latinos are indigenous too. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But you know, there's the reaction of I don't know how to connect, and then there's also the anger reaction too, because then they start to look into the history and seeing what all happened, and they just end up angry. And so it's very understandable. Just like I said, there was a lot of corruption that went on back in the day, uh, and now everybody's trying to find their way back. And this whole blood quantum thing has everybody all confused and angry, and it was created to keep us separated, to be honest. Uh,
Total agreement with that, and that's why I'm so blessed that we have films like our series is like Reservation Dogs that gives us natives another spotlight and reawakens the moments to give our people back our voice. It
mhm.
kills me because like I feel like part of the world really thinks that us native people have died with the cowboys and Indians, and that's so untrue. You know, our culture is so rich and so beautiful. It just wish that we could have bigger platforms to celebrate, you know, us more on than it being, you know, where it is at this moment.
Oh, for sure. Even back in my reservation, back in Browning, Montana. When I was in high school, they used to have a thing where they would have us get on AOL back when, you know, internet was still no longer laptops or anything, and we had AOL accounts and chat with people from around the world. And whenever they found out that I was on a reservation, they were like, "Oh wow, do you guys still live in teepees?" And I was like, "No, you know, we have houses." And they were like, "Do you ride horses to school?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." You know, I rode a 67-year-old Mustang to school today. You know,
Yeah,
just
that's
being
so
smarty
funny.
with
Yeah.
people. But you
you know,
know,
what's
it's
sad
real.
about that is them not knowing that, you know, at the same token, like how much
Hmm.
how the you know, it depends on what reservation you're on at the same token, but you know, there's a lot missing, a lot missing that natives don't get, especially when it comes to the reservation, when it comes to social services and funding and healthcare and things like that. It's so crazy how, you know, like I tell people all the time, they ask me, "Oh, do you vote? Are you political?" I'm like, "No, not at all." I'm like, left wing, right wing, same bird. They get paid by the same person. It's the American Eagle. They get paid by the same people. You know, I feel it's like WWE when the cameras stop rolling, they're all high fiving, drinking shots, and having fun. You know, it's pretty crazy to me because it's like our people went through so much, and you know, decorations of the Papal Bull of 1863. You know, and to know that our people have only been recognized and able to vote since 1986 is absolutely crazy. You know,
Yeah.
and when I look at it in that viewpoint, that standard, it's like, well, if our vote didn't count before, it shouldn't count now. So why do you want me to vote now? So that's why I don't get involved in politics. I just, like I said, it's the same American Eagle. They're getting paid, the left wing and the right wing of that bird. They're getting paid by the same people.
Yeah, I tend to steer away from politics myself as well. I have the same view, you know, 1986. That's only 2 years before I was born, you know? And so but anyways, you know, it's just unfortunately that's where the things are, you know, for things to be different, we have to, you know, all basically try to be the change.
Absolutely.
And, you know, people who can change it probably aren't even born yet. But it is moving in the right direction, which is something that I do, which I'm kind of happy to see. You know, just as well as I'm happy to see some of our stories getting out there and becoming movies. You know, that's something that I would actually want to do as well too, because I'm also a writer, and I would like to take some of our stories and make them cinematic, and work with other indigenous writers and directors and all that to try to do that, so that way we can get our words heard out there a bit more. You know, some of our stories as well as some modern day stuff. You know, Reservation Dogs was amazing for us. You know, and it had some really good indigenous stars as well as comedians. And
And give back our
so,
comedy to our people, you know, like because we've always had such good slapstick comedy, you know, and it was like kind of it wasn't that erased, but it was kind of forgotten. It feels like, you
yeah.
know, it was only on the res that you got that kind of humor, you know.
Yeah, you can see your uncle, your aunties, you know, cousins right there. You know, it was kind of cool to see that, you know, they actually used Res Kids for it. You know, that's not an accent that they were putting on.
Yeah,
That's how they really talk,
yeah.
and that's how it's really done on the reservation too. So it was just like, oh man, it reminds me of home.
And I will tell you this, little dog. So I have a great story that I want to produce. It's a native tale, and I really would like you to be the sheriff in the film. So when I get to that point of being able to produce this production, and I get everybody in place to do it, I just got to find. My biggest thing right now is finding a teepee that I can have put up in a certain space. That way we can film it the right way because it's got to be next to a town and it's got to be kind of 80s feel to it.
Okay, well, if you need that, I have a lot of connections on that. I've also set up TPs myself. I was actually at the was it American Indian Heritage Month meeting not so long ago. The 28th, I think it was the 28th annual one, and it was held at Lone Star because Lone Star is owned by the Choctaw, and they needed us to put up a teepee, so I was over there helping them out, and it was probably like my third time putting up a putting up a teepee, and I could tell it was off, but it still looked pretty good. But I also know teepee makers that are on the Choctaw that did the stuff for 1923.
Okay.
And so, not only that, over in Weatherford, there's a great couple that I know, and they go around. They also have their own teepee as well, and they have a couple of others that they're holding out for other people, and they restore them.
Very
And
cool.
so, I have a lot of connections on that side. Some of the other things I like doing. Have you ever played Kabuchitoli or stickball?
No, I haven't actually.
I have. It's a really rough
did
sport.
in the last film that we did, Invincible Marshall. The kids were playing it, but I was an older Natose, so I didn't get a chance to play it.
I have my own sticks and balls too. I mean, it's fun. Unfortunately for me, I get injured a lot. You bump me over, and I'm on the IR. And
Yeah,
so,
like I was saying though, I'd love to collab with you on that. We can get it ironed out, try to figure out, how we can get it done, where we can get it done. There's really no budget on this project, besides the costuming. But it's a great, I think it's going to be a great story, and I think it would be good to film this and then submit it to Red Nation and try to get down to LA for the film festival out there. That'd be great. We could go out there together,
okay, that would be great. Let me see. I know that we're getting really close on our time, and I do really appreciate it. I want to leave some time for your bites and everything, and your trailers and everything. Let's see if we have any questions. Hey, Will, do we have anybody on the stream? I know that we're brand new, so. Okay. All right, I appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure real quick. I know that we are brand new on the podcast side, and I'm definitely, once we get everything rolling again, we start getting in numbers, I would definitely love for you to come back on the show.
Oh, I appreciate
Okay.
it. And
Especially being this is my first one. Thank you, Kiki. It's been wonderful. I look forward to working with you some more.
Thank you, Will.
And
Thank you.
all right. All right. Thank you, Kiki. You have a wonderful day. Okay. All right. If you guys want to follow Kiki Suki, feel free to follow his Instagram and his Facebook account. They are linked below his profile names, so please give him a follow, give him a like, follow his stuff, keep an eye out for him. He's definitely got a lot of really good stuff in the works. Good horror movies, a lot of good indigenous stories coming up. So please just give him a like and a follow, and we greatly appreciate you guys. Keep an eye out for his movies. He's on Tubi, Amazon.
This episode is brought to you by Honeybee Funds. Honeybee is a nonprofit organization set up to help out homeless people that fall through all the cracks of other help. Homelessness in America has skyrocketed since 2020, and it's senseless in the wealthiest country in America. Outside of natural disasters, Honeybee believes there is no reason for homelessness in America. Some people will fall through the cracks because they have no children, no elderly living in their household. Some homeless people are not recovering from drug addiction or recently released from jail, so they are not viewed as priorities for housing. Honeybee Funds is set up to help homeless find a home, even if they have large dog that they count as part of their family. Email charliepooch131@gmail.com if you wish to contribute to Honeybee Funds. Now we will turn back to our broadcast.
Washington's Armors. You heard him say that the clip that we have coming up is going to be on is a teaser that's been unreleased for Mr. Marbles. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm here with indigenous superhero who needs no introduction. His name, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Is Daniel Adam Warrior.
Thank
How you doing, Daniel?
Amazing, brother. Thank you for having me.
Man, I really appreciate you being here today. So where's the warrior name from? What's your nation, brother?
That's my Shawnee, the absentee Shawnees out of Tecumseh, Oklahoma. And I'm also Creek, Muskogee. And then my mother is Rosebud Sioux from South Dakota.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
You're a plethora of indigenous culture.
My parents met at Haskell, and then we ran off to the oil fields and had 4 giant boys. And then we adopted my little sister. Her name's Carissa.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So for people who don't know, what is Haskell?
Okay, Haskell is an all Native American Indigenous Indian college in Lawrence, Kansas. And it's just well known for what they call Haskell Rascals. So a lot of indigenous children are made there.
It seems to happen when you get indigenous people together.
Right. So I'm the product of that. So hello. Welcome.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. And a lot of people don't know about the different indigenous schools, which is pretty cool to mention Haskell. But a lot of people actually don't know that Harvard is an indigenous college. If you can get in, it's a free ride for indigenous people.
No way.
Yeah,
dude, I should go there.
For sure,
I'm
man.
gonna go.
Too late.
I'm gonna go. That'll be my next thing.
I know, right? So, anyways, you're an actor. How long you been acting for?
My whole life.
Your whole life.
Ever since I was born, I was like, "What's up, guys?" I remember anytime someone would come to our house, for some reason, I would go get like my newest, coolest toy, and then I would go get out in front of them and I would present it like I was doing the commercial for it, And I've just always been kind of a presenter, like the king of the living room, like it's just this thing I've had since I was a kid. I have 3 older brothers, so like I was not in the spotlight whatsoever, but I was kind of dancing on the side trying to get in the spotlight. And so I just don't take life as serious as most people. And I think staying young and in heart and in mind has made me kind of valuable in the movie and film and acting world and theater, performance, a better drummer. I mean, like literally you have to have somebody to watch on your phone or in a movie, and there's the watcher, and I'm making the something to watch. So there has to be both sides, you know what I'm saying?
Nice. Now on drumming, which kind of drumming is that one?
Not the traditional drumming. I'm a rock drummer at Seeker. That's my hidden talent. I played a 7-piece DW, had 8 custom cymbals. It was it was my unicorn, right? I don't like to talk about it. I had to let it go, but it was for a good cause. My oldest son was diagnosed with brain cancer. He's okay now, but at the time, before his surgery, he said he wanted to see the ocean, and I said, okay, whatever we got to do. And I had to sell my drum kit to get money to get down there, and it healed him. His cancer's gone, and now we've moved back to kind of a different location. They wanted to check out the mountains in North Carolina, so that's where the family is right now.
Nice.
I'm visiting my friends here in Tulsa right now, so you caught me at a good time.
Nice. A lot better signal too, I noticed.
Yes. Oh my goodness. You had no idea what it's like in the mountains.
I remember we were trying to video chat and kept getting behind on the conversation.
Right. It turned into like Minecraft.
Yeah. It's but that's pretty cool. Do you still play sometimes? Do you have a band that you get together with, or?
I mean, I play on my steering wheel a lot. It's just hard to get somewhere where you can play and sit down, put on some headphones, play the music you want, play the drum setup you want. It's my dream is to get my studio back and just feel that again, because that it allows me a lot of meditation time. When you have 5 different moving parts, like, or whatever, and just playing is meditation, because when your mind is off of all the craziness in the world and it's taken up by all this stuff to do, you clearly think of your next step. And that's what I was thinking before I started getting into really big movies. I mean, I started working behind the movies, and I would just say, okay, so if I worked in this place, I could work this far with these people. They can introduce me to this person. That person knows him for sure. Let's go stand by the water bucket while the director walks by, because I see his walkie-talkie and it says, first assistant director. Let's shake his hand, and then the next guy, just thank him for doing what he does. He's doing a great job, and you'll see him later on some set. And I see those same people everywhere. And you just lay the foundation, follow your dreams, and that's kind of the dream. And I took it a back door kind of way. I started working behind the scenes and watching camera trucks. Started being security, PA. I was in charge of all the extras. I was feeding people. I was bringing water, staying overnight, just whatever, man. And then one of the guys saw me get out of the car, and he's like, "Dude, you're like almost 7 foot." He's like, "What are you doing in the car?" I was like, "I'm security, man." He's like, "Oh my gosh, I got to introduce you to this person." So, I got invited to be an extra and as a big fight scene guy in Texas. And I ended up on the cover of this little movie we were shooting in Texas, in Wichita Falls. And they said, "Put your arms out to the side and say, the warrior spirit is within us." And I said it, and there was a drone flying over, and I made history. And I said, they showed me that on film, and I saw myself as a superhero, and I said, this is what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. They made me look like that. I'm doing that again. And my kids are going to see that, and my kids are going to say, "That's my dad. He did it. I can do it too." And that's begun my journey. And so I've been doing that for my kids, for the brown people that don't get the same kind of opportunities. Us as Native men, like representing an entire people with my nose in a Martin Scorsese movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, it had me cry in front of all these elite people, and I just did it. I just did it because I saw my mind already, and it was already mine. So
That's
I
awesome.
believed I deserved it for the first time, and it happened. So I just kept doing that, and it's been my secret. So I got like 4 movies coming up that nobody even knows about. I don't know if it's reconnecting, but it says it on my side.
You're connected. I see you just fine.
Okay.
Man, that is awesome. You know that you actually beat me to my next question, which was, how did you get started in acting? You just muted yourself, by the way. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Now, whenever we met on the set of Bass Reeves.
Yes. I was really lucky to be
And,
there. Yeah. I was kind of a last minute ad. I just said, "What do I need to do to get there?" And they said, "Well, you have to come up here for testing, then you have to come up for your costume, and then you got to come up for the shoot." And it's 3 different trips all the way up there from South Padre Island. It's like 11 hours every time. And I had to get back between those days. There was no way I could stay. So you understand what that's like.
yeah. Now, between that one and, let's say, between Bass Reeves and starting as security,
Hmm.
how long would you say that you went out for?
You mean from like my first step in movie to when I met you?
Yes.
Man, probably almost 2 years, probably.
That's awesome. I've met a lot of people who did a lot of I've done background work for that.
Hmm.
They were in PAs as well. And there's some people who prefer to stay behind the scenes at PA and, bounce to background every once in a while, but mostly like the PA stuff. Now, that's kind of cool to see you step up and, basically move from the shadows to the spotlight.
I mean,
And
as soon as I see something, as soon as I see how it works, I figure it out. And I look at my hands and I look at their hands. And I'm like, Sylvester Stallone has the same hands as me, bro. If he can do it, I can do it. Right? And then I get real stubborn about it. Then I start sneaking in. I'm like, "What's up, Mr. Director? I know that I have a very unique look. All right. and I can be used for anything. I don't have to play a big monster. I don't have to play a how white man kind of native. I can play Grey's Anatomy. I can play Seinfeld. You know, like you don't have to pigeonhole me. You know what I'm saying? And so let's do something big. And so I just started with that mindset, and I wanted to be like the Native American Mr. T, you know, and wear my beads and like, you know, just show kids that, hey man, we're the same. I needed someone to look up to, and I didn't have that. So I'm gonna be that for other people, for myself as a child that didn't get that.
Nice, yeah, and that's that's something that we're doing is that we're highlighting indigenous culture. I feel like this past couple years, it's really been more in the spotlight than it has before, to where they back in the old westerns, they used Caucasian people. They basically used brownface,
Oh yeah, that's so
and
ridiculous.
and then as time has gone by, my cousin he was an actor. He was Steve Rivas,
Yeah.
and he was in Dances with Wolves and all that, and so. He was also in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler, the remake.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was in the announcer
Oh,
box.
that's cool, man. Dude, that's really awesome.
And so it was really cool to see that and thinking, because whenever I was back on the reservation, I used to live in this place called it was Old Low Rent. They also call it the Flintstone
Oh my
houses.
god.
We moved in and there was like bullet holes in the wall.
Wow, dude.
And to see that, he at one time lived, in the same neighborhood that I lived in. And that he became a big star and that, he was able to make something different. That was really cool. And seeing a bunch of indigenous cast, and then Smoke Signals came out and Adam
Yeah.
Beach was stuck for a while there. And he was also in one of the Suicide Squads, which was pretty exciting for me, because I have I have martial arts background. I've always wanted to do Nightwolf.
Oh yeah. Dude.
um, but I got to be back in shape for that.
We will be. Hey man, we got time. We got this.
For sure. Anyway, so let's go into what shows have you been that can our people see you and that might
Okay, I
recognize you?
always forget some, so keep me. Okay, so first, before any of the movies, you can hear me as the narrator on a show called What Really Happened: America's Wild West, and it's on National Geographic. You can Google What Really Happened: America's Wild West, and you can see the first episode, I think. Okay. Then I did.
I think I pulled that from your Facebook. We'll play a little clip from that
Oh,
as
that's
well
cool.
too. Okay.
Yeah. I worked behind the scenes of Reservation Dogs. I got to know all of them, and we became good friends. So that's I count them as my family. Like, we spent a lot of time in the rain, outside in the woods. I was just feeding them, and I was really grateful to have that opportunity. Okay. Then I did Yellowstone, episode 8,
Okay.
season 5. I was like chief councilman of Montana. I got referred to Danny Trejo's new movie called Seven Cemeteries. It's out 2 Fridays ago. It's a horror comedy, and it just dropped, and so I got a lot more friend requests on Facebook out of that one. Then we have I showed up on the set like for 3 weeks up in Bartlesville and Pahuska for Killers of the Flower Moon, and I got in.
Nice.
I just kept showing up, man. I just kept showing up. And they're like, "Yeah, well, you need to have a manager and an agent, or sign this to have a talent agent." I was like, "Okay, I'll be back tomorrow." And I just kept showing back up, and I kept showing up by the craft services, and they saw me. Someone took a picture with me, sent it to the guys that needed it, and then they asked me to be in it that weekend. And I was very lucky to get that phone call, and I almost dropped my phone, and I picked it up. I was like, "Okay, just email me." So I didn't hit the button. I was holding my phone. I was like, "Okay, I don't want to hang up. Yes, I will do it. Yes, I will be there. I don't care. I'm gonna make it." And so that one, and then Bass Reeves with you and I, and then I did a movie called Patina, where I play an 8-foot mythological woman's body double. So it's me ducking through doors, and I turn around and it's her face, and it's Casey Camp Hornet. She's in the Last Airbender. She's in a lot of old native movies.
Nice.
I was lucky to work with her. And then at the same time, I got into Sylvester Stallone's Tulsa King season 2, and I think it's one of the last episodes of season 2. So I'll be the tall guy. I can't really say much about it. And Seven Cemeteries has Danny Trejo and Hector from Fast and Furious. He's Hector and everything. Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. You know, he's a zombie in the movie, so you got to check it out. And
Nice.
and then I wrote a movie. I wrote a movie with a production company in Texas, and we're going to be shooting it in February. And very
Nice.
fortunate to have a great team, and we're just going to move forward with that. And I'm going to see how many people I can get on there, my friends down there. If I had a bunch of money, all my native friends from Oklahoma to come down to the beach in Brownsville, you guys would be awesome. So we'll see about casting. So that's what I'm working on
Okay.
right now. I appreciate you giving me a little
Nice.
bit of the spotlight. You're always being so helpful to all natives. So your show looks amazing too.
I appreciate it, man. I definitely want to shine it on, especially, since this is going to be the first episode to air, especially in November, which is
Oh, cool.
Indigenous Peoples Heritage Month. I would definitely want to shine the spotlight a little bit more towards indigenous descent.
Mhm.
I have a couple of actors that have indigenous, lineage through Mexico that I'm going to bring on a little bit
Perfect,
later on
man.
as well too.
That's the
And
that's
so, because
the
we're all,
bridge we're trying to gap. I mean, the gap we're trying to bridge right now is that there was a line put between us, and people called us different. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're
Mhm.
still all indigenous to America. They called them Mexicans, which is a nationality. It's not even who they are. And they called us Indians, which is blanketing all 2,000 something tribes to say, no, you're just all Indian. You know, and it just takes our identity away, our culture, traditions, trade, our migration, the migrating natives from, just from the different areas. It
Yeah.
just changes them all to just one word, and now there's no identity. So we're gonna
Hmm.
explore that and get people's roots back, and really find out how we can document those names and the different tribes and the clans and everything, to really have like a big telephone book across the United States, so we know who's who. You know what I'm saying? We can start that, and it starts right here on your show.
For sure,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people that have been told that they have indigenous lineage in them, but
Mhm.
due to the way that the cultures were, like I know that during the boarding school days, if you get passed for Caucasian, you went as Caucasian.
Wow.
You didn't claim your indigenous side at all, because
Yeah.
if you claimed your indigenous side, people were racist to
Mhm.
you.
Wow, man.
And so, I would definitely love to bring that back in our indigenous people, as well as, highlight, upcoming entertainers in
Yeah.
our world. I do want to I want to bring on more indigenous actors, as well as, indigenous musicians,
Yes, dude. Man, your
just to
show's gonna be
highlight.
awesome, bro. Your show's gonna be awesome. Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming on, because it's always great talking with you, man. You're a really great friend, and you're an awesome person,
Thanks, man. Hey, I got a
It's
good mom. And I look at everybody like angels, man. We're all here in this existence. We're stardust and vibration, and we made it here in this existence. So why not build each other up, and we can all be great together? Why not?
Oh, for sure. Like, I was watching an episode of Lopez vs. Lopez,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, was George Lopez explains some of the people as bucket crabs in one of the episodes.
Oh yeah, man. That happens a
And
lot.
it's whenever you see somebody from your culture starting to get better, or another indigenous person being successful, people will always try to reach up and pull them back down to be where
Oh
they're at.
yeah, they're putting
And
crabs in the bucket, man. Get a lot of
for
that.
sure. And so that's why I want to highlight people and lift each other up,
Yeah,
And so
I'm all about it.
we got about 5 minutes left in our in our podcast, but I really enjoy having you on, man. I do want to bring you back on a little bit more when we start bringing in a
Yeah.
bit more numbers. I really appreciate you being one of my first guests, man.
Yes, it's a pleasure. It's been an honor, man.
And I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Oh, we will.
And I look forward to seeing your success and stuff that you have coming out. Now, the one that I believe we have a little bit of your trailer, right?
Yes, from
And
the Seven Cemeteries one.
I think we have that one, but I think the
Oh,
other trailer
for
that we
the
have,
National Geographic. Wait, you can
yeah,
play it
we
on
have
here?
that one as well. Not on this one, but on the final one, we'll have it playing.
Oh,
Okay.
cool, awesome.
And so this is just the live portion. This is the one we don't have anybody on right
Okay.
now. Once we get a little bit more ahead, we'll definitely be having more people.
You
Okay.
got it, man.
And then we'll have more of a Q&A. And like I said, I definitely want to bring you back on again.
Okay, awesome, man. I really
Okay.
appreciate it. And
Hey, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your
I wish
time.
you the best, man. It's gonna be awesome. I'm rooting for you, brother.
Thank you.
Pleasure, man.
And one last thing, you're presenter. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
One last thing, you're presenter, right?
yes.
For something coming up?
Oh my goodness, that just kind of it was such an amazing. The way I found out is it popped up on my feed, and I was, I was going through some stuff, and I was in my head a lot at that time, and I was like, man, I don't. It was during the hurricane down in Asheville. I was Asheville, North Carolina, where I live. I went and lived in Cherokee, and I was just like, man, what's really important here in my life? What maybe I should just cool it, on the acting and stuff. And I was like, man, I really want to do something big. I want to keep going for our Native people. And I got this thing, and it just kept opportunities were like this close to happening, and then all of a sudden, Jonel Romero posted that I will be one of the presenters at the 29th annual Red Nation Celebration Institute Red Nation Film Festival, and it just lifted my spirits. It was like one of those whenever Will Smith played in what's it called, Pursuit of Happiness, when he got the job.
Yeah.
He was clapping outside. Dude, it's real, and it just relit that what I'm doing this for. I'm planting the seeds.
Yeah.
I'm planting the seeds of a tree that I'll never sit under, and the belief system of my children to say, that's my dad. He did it. I can do it too. You know what I'm saying? And that belief is the thing. Somebody must have instilled that in me. My parents somewhere said, hey, you could do it. And my mom said it before. She's like, yeah, I mean, if Danny Trejo turned his life around and did something big, you could be a good actor like him. And I was like, really? And it just that belief. My mom said, yes, let's go. So when she heard me on National Geographic, she was sewing in her sewing room. And she called me. She's like, hey, I heard you on National Geographic and you sound better than Morgan Freeman. And I was like, yeah, that was my mom, dude. That's my mom. And just that little bit, I want to do that for everybody. Danny Trejo said, don't ever say you're just anything. And he made me believe in myself. Martin Scorsese shook my hand and said I was magnificent. And that just changes the man. You know what I'm saying? If he said it, I might be magnificent. I'm not sure. But you just have to. I started feeling like that. So, yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we look forward to it. We're going to play some of your clips as well to the audience whenever we get it going on the recorded version, which is going to drop on November 1st.
Okay, cool.
And it's a Friday. Okay.
Right, man.
And we can find some of your... What's that?
This is the true story of the frontier, of the Wild West, and the founding of America.
Frontier is a very loaded word.
It was the dividing line between civilization and savagery, which was imagined to be indigenous peoples.
A violent tale of European colonists pushing ever deeper into an unexplored wilderness.
The West has long figured in the American imagination as the land of hope and promise.
Of an indigenous people exploited and conquered by treaty or by force.
God gave it to the Indians first, so it'll always be our land. It'll always be our country.
In a chaotic war for freedom. Chronicling the carving up of a continent. The birth of lawless cattle towns. The ruthless rise of the railroad. And the feverish greed of the gold rush. Witness the brutal reality of how the West was won. The bona fide history of life on the frontier.